There's a common misconception that smaller shops can't do complex work. But capability isn't about inventory. Real capability comes from smart, strategic investments in the right areas, strong talent, tight processes, and the test and verification infrastructure that proves the work before it goes back into service. Hi, I'm Patrick Kraus, host of the Nose to Tail podcast. Today I'm joined by Mike Jones to talk about what actually defines capability in MRO and how focused shops can build trust to take on tougher challenges. Let's unpack this. Maybe I'd like to start with what it's going to take for our industry. You're in the MRO business, the component shop business.
That's correct.
And what it's going to take to really attract the next generation into aviation.
You know, that's a good question. And the reason why I say that is once you get the bug and it's in you,
Oh, yeah.
you're going to, no matter what, you're going to be in it. I think a lot of that comes from the next generation, our kids that are coming up and want to be like mom and dad.
Yeah.
But going out to the schools, letting them know how well you can do in aviation.
And also, I would also complement that with there's a trade school push, right? People are tired of saying, geez, I went to college and I got a degree in communication, whatever that means. And I've got all this debt and I don't really have a direction. And so there's been this trade school push, right? And it'd be great if aviation could get a foothold that gets the same positive reputation as people going into plumbing or electrical or HVAC, that we start getting some of those practical, those kids that work on their own cars and do those things. We need them to join us in aviation. Instead of becoming diesel mechanics, they should come be aircraft mechanics and technicians.
Yeah, and it's just as fun.
Way more fun.
One of the things that you and I have talked about before in our conversations is I keep my CDLs. I was a truck driver for years.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that we're going to need. AI cannot drive a truck.
Yeah.
Not all the way anyway, So
Yeah.
Same with plumbers. The trade schools, I think, I went to school over a summer, of course, laying brick and block. AI can't do that. We're going to need these hands-on people, and attracting them to the aviation side, I think is easy. We see planes every day, everybody, everywhere. And it is a great industry. The more people that come in and just visit and see how well everybody intertwines and gets along, and it's just a family atmosphere.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I think we do take for granted, though, that and I've mentioned this before on the podcast, but, someone who's not zero exposure to aviation, the jobs that they do see are, this is the person that checks you in for your flight. This is the person that lets you into the gate, and then you have a flight attendant, a pilot. And I think they perceive that there's other pieces to it, but they really, we're exposed to these magnificent background of aviation and the millions of people around the world that actually make all the other pieces of it work. And I don't think we do a very good job as an industry of going, this is amazing. And there's so much opportunity and innovation and growth. And frankly, we need lots of people to be interactive with it. I think we're missing that. And my hope is with the podcast, a big piece of this is I want to educate people about there's so much variety out there of opportunity and variety of things that you could do.
But it could come from different angles, though.
Absolutely.
Like in my case, I came from the lumber industry and really got burnt out. So looking for something new, something different. I started out in shipping and receiving at Air Inc. Shop in Fairhope, Alabama. So, I didn't know anything about aviation. I was good at shipping and receiving.
Yeah.
So it just happened to be aircraft parts. It was components. And the more I learned about the components, you see them on the inbound side and then again on the shipping side. And that was pretty cool. And then figuring out the in-between receiving and shipping, how the parts got repaired or overhauled. That's pretty amazing, again, not coming from the aviation background. Now, the funny thing is I was in the Air Force. When I was in the Air Force, I actually worked on cars and trucks. Closest I got to the F-16 working on it was, I'm fixing an MB-4 that was trying to pull out the M16. So that was funny to get out of the Air Force to get into aviation.
Yeah,
but,
that is actually pretty funny.
kind of backwards. But,
Yeah, it is. It is. And I have a not too dissimilar origin story. I was a teacher. Actually taught elementary PE, which is for all of you out there is an amazing job, and we need a lot of great young men to go into education. And I have really thoroughly enjoyed working. I'm also a coach, so teaching and coaching and mentoring is important to me. And but it doesn't pay very well. And my brother had started Jet Midwest, and he's like, "Hey, I need some help." I said, "Well, I'll start moonlighting for you." And that's how I started. Very similar. As walked into a warehouse, 15,000 square feet, and about 4,000 square feet of it had aircraft parts that were checked in, and 11,000 square feet were not. He's like, "Go," and I go,
busy.
I go do what? I don't know how to do any of this. He says, "You'll figure it out." So that was the beginning of a journey. And hey, I'm inspecting aircraft parts, and I'm not really sure what to call these things. So
Right.
it was a great starting point, and did teach me some great lessons about the people in the business do love to teach, and everybody's willing to do that. And if you're willing to learn and ask good questions, there'll be certainly somebody there to mentor you and teach you all of the steps of those things.
But I think that's one of the best parts about it. Seeing those people come in and watching them grow. It's amazing. You get somebody new, and they're scared to death to send a quote out. And the next thing you know,
Oh, how little they know.
Yeah, 3 years later, they're running the place.
That's right.
It really is amazing to watch people grow, and that's part of the best part about being a supervisor or director or whatever you want to call it. And I do enjoy that. So the next generation is coming in. We have some newer folks in our company, and I think they've gotten the bug, and they're going to be there a while. So just seeing them grow is really fun.
So, Mike, we let's talk a little bit about AeroStar.
Okay.
Maybe the misnomer, and I like the way this is articulated, so hopefully I can get it right. The misnomer of the mistake of a small MRO as a moniker. Why is that misleading?
I think in a lot of ways, people don't think we could do the more complex units because we are a smaller shop, considered a smaller shop. But, we've invested, Mr. Greg Guzman and everybody else at AeroStar, they've really invested in test equipment. We've grown organically. It hasn't been somebody coming in and buying us or what have you. We've done it all in-house. Very, very amazing to see the growth and what's really come on board. So, the complex units, we all work for the same CMM. We can do them. So the misconception is that you have to be a larger shop to be able to do those. No, not necessarily. You just got to have the right people.
So what's differentiating you as a smaller shop, quote unquote smaller? I don't even know. We probably shouldn't use that anymore. As an elite shop with a hyper focus. How about that?
How about that?
How about
I
that?
like
Elite
that.
shop with a hyper focus. What is it that differentiates you? What are you able to do that maybe that mega corporate shop can't do?
I speak to all our customers, and one of the things that the feedback I get is our communication. Be it right, be it wrong, be it good, be it bad, we're going to communicate that. One of the main things I heard coming out of the nightmare of the pandemic, and when we finally got busy in aviation, is that our shop was one of very few that would return a phone call or an email and let them know what's going on with their unit. It was so crazy. I mean, at the time we had units in house that we hadn't even inspected in 60 days, unheard of. So to reach out to the customer to let them know that, hey, we apologize. We know this is not where we want to be, but at least we're answering your email. We have your unit. It is on the radar. We will get to it. I promise you that. I hear that from a lot of customers tell us that, and we pride ourselves in that fact that communication is one of our strong suits.
Well, from a company that repairs a lot, Jet Midwest last year in 2025, I think we had 15,000 units repaired last year. And when you're going through volume like we are, it's really critical to have more than just a vendor on the other side. Because, if I've got a repair manager who's got 100 repair orders that they're managing through shops, and they've got 5 in your shop, they don't have time to follow up. I mean, they want to get an answer and they need to check that box, say, okay, this is on path or it's off path and I need to recover. So I can appreciate that it's more than just a customer vendor relationship, and certainly appreciate what you guys have done. And it is, there are a lot of vendors that we try, and we're getting much better at saying when they fail us that, hey, if you can't communicate with us, we can't send your work.
Yeah.
So it's great that you guys differentiate yourselves that way.
And I think our quality helps. We get done a unit, we ship it out, we know it's not going to return. Just earlier, we were speaking with your group. That was one of the things that they compliment us on is the quality. So never an issue with our quality. Always have good communication. So we appreciate the feedback.
But it really, I don't want to undersell any of you guys out there on how important this is. I mentioned this earlier, and I don't think that the person I talked to quite understood it, but every problem that I have with a third-party shop, so I send a unit to a third-party shop, they send it back to me. I then put that on my operator's airplane. If that unit fails, they don't care at all who the repair vendor was.
Right.
That's Shem and Westfall.
They bought it from you.
They bought it from me. They have to rely on me. And again, that trust that we have in the vendor and how important it is that units are reliable and that the quality is there. People aren't rushing the process. They're being thorough and complete in all of the review and the repair, because we just can't afford that. I mean, reputational loss is difficult. And I think we're really good. We have a large inventory, so a lot of times we can scramble and solve problems in the short term. Now, we've also all seen, hey, we installed it, it didn't work, and they sent it back, and you guys go, works just fine.
Right.
And you maybe have a different troubleshooting challenge. So that does happen. But for the most part, that pain still exists. They still have a problem. The airplane's stuck in the hangar.
Sure.
and not out flying passengers or freight. And I think that can't be misstated for people. I don't think everybody quite grasps that. Sometimes it's about, oh, did we get that invoiced before the end of the month? And you're like, well, yeah, we did.
What good did it do?
Doesn't do any good if
it's coming right back. Right.
That RMA falls back on that month. You didn't hit your bonus. I'm sorry, my friend. So sometimes it is about having enough patience to make sure that it's seen through the right way.
Yes, sir.
So coming from an outside industry into aviation, what was maybe the first couple of insightful parts of the aviation industry that you're like, wow, this is very unique?
That's kind of a tricky question.
Oh, I know it is, because I might know some answers, but I'd be curious what you think, Mike.
Honestly, I think the one thing, learning that it doesn't matter who you work for. I think in a lot of ways, repair shops are so mesmerized by trying to use the right word here. So
maybe a legacy name.
Great, thank you. Yeah, you are correct, and it is. So learning that, figuring out who you are as a person, kind of pretty amazing. Like I said, I came driving a truck, and I can't thank Brad Caven and Greg Guzman enough for giving me the opportunity, watching me in shipping and receiving, my work ethic and, whatever, personality, however you want to do it. But they're the ones that gave me the opportunity in customer service. So never expected Mike Jones to end up in customer service. I think that's who I was, or, never thought that's who I was. So the opportunity was there, presented to me, and the opportunities that are presented to you in aviation was pretty fascinating.
I think the stress level inside of the natural course of business of aviation, and especially in the supply chain side, that pressure really makes people who they really are comes to the forefront. So therefore, you end up with a lot of people who are kind of genuine in the business.
Yeah,
because you have to be that way. You can't fake it.
You're only as good as your name.
Yeah, and there are people out there who try and fake it, and it's pretty obvious, because it's a difficult thing to do. And to your point, that kind of brings out who you are and grows. I joke somewhere. I really wasn't a very outgoing person before I got into aviation, and it wasn't the first half of my career. It's really been the second half of my career where I've been in the sales chair all of a sudden a whole bunch. I just had to develop some skills, and it became something that I've really enjoyed. And talking about aviation with the podcast, helping mentor and really trust our team to grow and do all the jobs I used to do, I just don't do anymore. It's a good thing and a bad thing. I do have one particular account where I do still get every RFQ that comes through. So my account manager maybe gets a little annoyed at me because every once in a while I send him a reply and I go, "Hey, I saw this."
But that's one of the hardest things to do, though, isn't it? Kind of let go and let your
go.
team handle it.
Yeah.
When I moved into customer service, and I was a customer service rep for years, and the director position came open, and I put in for it, and there were just certainly ones I didn't want to let go. And finally, they're like, Greg and Brad, they're like, okay, you have 30 days to turn this over. And I'm like, wait a minute. I started this from day one. That was the first we received from them. And, but again, you train your team correctly and know that they're going to do the right thing. Let it go. You've got to learn to let it go and then become the manager and kind of oversee it. Yeah. And that's hard. That's not something that happens overnight. That's something you have to learn.
No. And again, it's a evolution, right? It's not I don't flip a switch. I'm glad they gave you 30 days. Now, they probably gave you 3 years prior to that.
That's correct.
Where they expected you to get rid of it. And then eventually you're like, hey, 30 days. That's it. We're done. We're done. And we're just going to turn off your email.
And that's the other thing is, knowing that it's going to get done, it's going to get done correctly. They might not do it like you. And again, that's another learning process. But as long as they get it done and they get it done correctly, that's what it should be.
That's awesome. So let's talk a little bit more about AeroStar. I know we tickled it a little earlier, but I'm curious what the next 5 years is going to bring. You guys are investing in your shop and your test benches. What's that next product line or that next capability that you're developing that's really going to shine for the marketplace?
As a management team, we've discussed that. And honestly, there's different directions we want to go. We're just not sure which. Is it fuel?
Well, great. We can help you out. We can help you out. We're right.
What do you need help with? How about
we're all going to help them out right here. Maybe we'll vote on it. We'll do a podcast vote. So what are our options?
So do you want to go fuel? Do you want to go
fuel.
Red oil stand for military? I mean, there's all kinds of things.
How much military are you guys doing right now?
Right now we have some C-130 work that we do. So
nice. Now, is that new to you guys?
No, not necessarily. It's actually a couple of years we've been doing it. We partnered with.
What percentage of your work is military versus commercial?
Yeah, it's probably in the 10% range.
Okay.
So
a growth platform. Call that growth platform. All right. See, we're fixing things. All right. So
we invested. Our last big one was the Test Tech power generation stand. So IDGs, CSDs, generators. They've really come on strong lately. That's one of the ones we're really proud of. And we bought a Bauer test stand, hydraulic stand, and that has given us the hydraulic capabilities to pretty much run anything on the commercial side.
Nice.
So we just did a couple 787 pumps, believe it or not, hydraulic pumps.
Very nice.
So we're very proud of that. Not everybody can do that.
So on the IDG side, are you guys doing 7B and 5B and
yes, and LEAP.
Oh, LEAP.
We have LEAP capability, yes, sir.
That's great. Boy, the LEAP engine. That's a challenge for the operators. It is maybe a blessing in disguise for the aftermarket.
Talking with folks today here at the show, and one of the things they asked about was the GTF. Do you go that route? Kind of pointing us in that direction. Yeah. Sounds like they need some help. So.
Yeah, I do. It's got to be a challenge to have to design and build and invest billions of dollars into developing engines and power plants and the constraints of material and fuel consumption and power generation, and take it to market and then maybe have some unforeseen challenges in front of you. And the aftermarket does, I think, a nice job of then saying, hey, if your GTF is having a challenge, we're the type of people that can jump in and be nimble and change maybe the course of part of what we're doing to help address that and do a mutually beneficial deal. So I love the aftermarket for that. It's one of my favorite things about being in the aftermarket is that ability to just kind of go, well, we can solve that.
Yep. If you see a hole, fill it.
Yeah.
It's one of those that,
it's like a middle linebacker. You're like Mike Singletary over here, It's not Mike Jones, it's Mike Singletary.
We're right there at Brookley Field in Mobile, and everybody knows that's where Airbus is. So, we look out and we see Airbus, and they just continue to grow. it's great. It's really neat to be there with them, but at the same time, we're all fighting for technicians and positions.
Yeah.
So that's one of the challenges too we see on our sides.
It does. It's there, but I think that's a tough one to solve. Again,
It
we
is.
don't necessarily have a legacy name today, but I would say that I would put Jet Midwest as a place to work. I think we've done a really, really nice job of making it a fantastic place to work. So if someone's going to be motivated to leave for a few bucks an hour, I think they can go have a good journey. And our environment, I'll hang my hat on the wall there that we're doing the right things to take care of the people, because we really don't lose that many.
No, you don't.
Really
I've been doing, we've known each other years and years and doing business and became friends over the years. And it's amazing the turnover you don't have. I find what's neat, I think you hang on to the right people and find the right positions for them. Maybe didn't start out in the right position, but definitely want to keep them. Do good workers, good people, and let's find the right position, what matches.
Yeah, I say this to the team. We do quarterly meetings, and I bring it up a lot. We've grown so much in so many different ways, right? So we started as a parts company doing expendables, and then post 9/11, airplanes that were old were getting parked so fast they became super cheap, and it was like, okay, I can small entry into the market. I can start tearing down airplanes. That's 700 airplanes together, and we started aircraft paint shop. We did heavy maintenance. We got the component shop. Now we got an engine shop. We're doing airframe work. We've got a power plant team. And one of the things as we've continued to grow and expand is I really drive my team to go, if you've got someone that's wants to take a leap into some other genre, some other company within the group of companies, more than happy to nurture that. And there's a right way to do it. You don't want to upset an organizational subset that's doing really well. You go, oh, let me take all your best people and put them over here. Like, thank you. That manager's always happy with me. So we do have a process to manage that, so people don't go. There's no employee poaching. There's not supposed to be. Occasionally,
Not supposed to be. Yeah.
Occasionally, somebody gets unduly influenced. But I do think we do a really nice job of saying, hey, there's career opportunities here. There's more than just, hey, I came in as a receiving person, and I own a company. And I tell people that story when we hire them. I said, my chair is going to be empty someday. Somebody inside this organization is going to be sitting in it. And we give a lot of opportunities for people to move around and nurture both their skill set, as well as maybe scratch the itch of, hey, I really want something different in my career. And I think it's really cool to watch people progress through some of those channels.
And finding out who they are.
Yeah.
We kind of talked about it earlier, and it's amazing because in my position, seeing people in account management, customer service, and I'm seeing more and more people wanting to go into sales, that they enjoy getting out and seeing the people face to face and not just in a cubicle or in an office, doing quotes and on the phone or what have you. So that's pretty amazing too.
That is good.
And let's not ever lose that. That's one of the things that we talk about, the AI, talking about when you get an email from Mike Jones, it's Mike Jones, because Mike Jones is not the most professional guy that you'll ever meet.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So you receive that email and, maybe I shouldn't have used that word, where AI would have corrected it, whatever, So yeah, let's not lose that personality in our industry. And it kind of scares me. What makes our industry is all the different personalities.
I think I'm excited for how to make people better, how to arm them with better things. And I do agree with you. I think that probably for myself, I'm a firm believer that the AI, as we go through this implementation, because everybody's going to do it, when you get to the other side, that person who's able to still have the human touch, I think will have an advantage. And how do you harness the best parts of AI and the best parts of the human touch? I think for all of our listeners out there and all my competitors, I would encourage everybody to do it, because that human touch, just like you talked about, that relationship, you're my vendor, but we're partners. We're partners in the repair. We're partners on the supply when you need a part. And that's different than RFQ digitally showing up. I joked with someone, I'm going to deviate a little bit back to the old school.
Okay.
You were talking about quoting before. ILS in 1999, your RFQs came via fax machine, right? So it's just like a teletype fax machine saying, I need MS, 28235-10 Charlie, and I need 50 of them. And I go, great. I have 5,000 because I sell hardware, and they're 50 cents each, and I have a $50 minimum. And you literally wrote it on the piece of paper and signed your name, flipped it over, and sent it back to them.
Yes, sir.
And I told that story to somebody the other day, and they're like, "You did what?
What's a fax machine?
What's a fax? Like, what are you talking about?" I go, "Yeah, it's like printing it and then rescanning it, and it goes to them. You never call them,
No.
and you send it over. They get on the fax. Oh, great! This minimum PO fee. I can't get it cheaper than $50. $50 it is.
Yep.
And then they send it COD. And again, for anybody out there who just sent CODs in 1999, you're handwriting a lot of airway bills.
A lot of, yep.
And old shipping receiving guys, we
Yes,
get
sir.
handwriting airway bills. You knew everybody's address, right?
By heart.
By
Didn't have to
heart.
look it up.
And parts go in the box, and then you send it off, and FedEx and UPS would actually take a return envelope and send you back a paper check
Yep.
that then you had to go deposit every day. It was fantastic times.
Times have changed.
What's amazing was that was cutting edge.
Yes.
27 years ago.
Yes, sir.
That was cutting edge. You send it off and they just send you a check the next day?
It's amazing.
Piece of paper? You're kidding me. Yeah, that's how it was. And
It's the same, and again,
AI is the same solution.
it
Okay, so let's apply it. That's the same solution that's going to happen. This next evolution is going to be that innovative where it'll be that seamless that you get things done. I think that's what's going to come. It's going to be a positive innovation. We just got to keep the people to the people part.
it's got to be a good balance.
Yeah.
AI is there and it's great and it's going to help us all. But let's not let it take over, because I don't want to be a robot.
Well, listen, if this is like the Terminator and they start taking over, we'll communicate via fax machine to each other. Is that a deal? I know we know how to do it.
You promise?
Yeah, exactly.
Same with email. As dumb as it sounds, in this industry, it used to be you picked up the phone and you was on the phone all day long.
Yeah.
Now it's emails. I hate to say it out loud, but everybody's so busy to take a phone call now. Shoot me an email. Hey, I saw you call. Shoot me an email. Sometimes I just want to talk to you.
Yeah.
I want to hear your voice. I want to know what's going on. And there's no personality in an email per se, so.
Well, certainly customer service is going to be, I think, bolstered, but at the same time, we got to keep that in as a human factor.
Yes.
All right. So, I talked to all of my podcast guests about their favorite aircraft.
Okay.
And why that's their favorite aircraft. So I'd be curious, Mike, what your favorite aircraft is.
Military or
It
commercial?
doesn't matter. It's endless.
Okay.
I got surprised for the first time someone had a helicopter as one of the, well, that's great. That's amazing. So it's endless.
Okay.
If it leaves the earth and comes back safely, you can pick
Back
anything.
safely. Military F-16. Well, I'm really torn. F-16 and A-10. It's funny because they're almost on opposite ends of the spectrum. But yeah, I fell in love with the F-16 being in the Air Force, stationed in Vegas. And it was pretty amazing to see the Thunderbirds in person, be where they're stationed. Commercially, the 787. It's just, for lack of better birding, that's a sexy plane.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful. So, don't know what else to say there. It just, from the first time I saw it, it really is. It's just pretty, sleek, smooth.
Kind of flies like an angel.
Yes, sir.
The wings kind of bend up and you're like, oh man, that's
Yep.
special.
And I was born and raised in Delaware. Live in Alabama now, of course, but growing up, Dover Air Force Base. So we saw the C-5 Galaxy. When you watch them, it's almost like they float. They don't look like they're flying when they take off. It's pretty amazing.
They actually don't look like they should be able to fly. They're so dang big.
And then in there, I was stationed in Guam first for 15 months, and the B-52s. Again, that one. That looks like it shouldn't fly. I don't know how it ever flew, but for it to still be flying now is amazing. So,
What was life like in Guam?
let's see. Going back
Is
that
this
many,
pre-internet?
yes,
All right, pre-internet in Guam.
in Guam. So I went in the Air Force in '88. So I got stationed in Guam in '89, and here I am, just turned 19, young guy, and Guam was beautiful. Absolutely loved it. So there was Anderson Air Force Base on the north side, and big Navy, and man, I had a ball. Really enjoyed it. Didn't know what Guam was, and got stationed there. And I'll tell you what, that's just a beautiful place where America's Day starts. It is our territory. So it was pretty amazing to be there. I didn't realize at the time how amazing it was. And that's the sad thing, looking back on it. I had a chance to extend my stay. I did 15 months and left. And looking back, I probably wish I would have extended for a year. But can't go back in time. But
I don't know, maybe.
the funny thing is,
Listen.
I left there and went to Vegas. So I left this little island and I went to
With
Vegas.
nothing to do.
Yeah. It took me a week to learn how to breathe. From nothing but humidity to no humidity at all. So pretty fascinating, pretty neat.
Yeah, that's a good transition. So here, I'm going to challenge you. Go back to Guam.
Okay.
And turn off your cell phone and just don't turn it back on. Somebody had suggested to me to do an unplugged weekend with my wife somewhere. So go somewhere and just turn off your phones. Leave them in your hotel room, turn them off, don't turn them back on.
Believe it or not, we do that. My wife and I, one of the best things we did, travel trailer. We talked about getting a tent, but tent camping in South Alabama in the summer is not a good idea. So we ended up, we got a travel trailer and had to upgrade. Now we have 3 grandkids. The little travel trailer we started with just wasn't big enough. So the grandkids love it too. Usually a week in June, we take them to the beach and we just camp, and it's truly amazing. That's when I turn my cell phone off.
Yeah.
It's all about, we all have to recharge sometimes.
Yeah.
So
it's hard.
It is.
We're in a fast-paced industry, and
it's 24/7.
Yeah, and we love it. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, you're absolutely correct. It's really hard. I had a colleague of mine having dinner with him and his wife the other night, and they're like, "You need to take a vacation." I go, "Well," you're like, "When was the last time you took 2 weeks off?" I go, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
What? What is that? I
had a gentleman I worked for in the lumber industry, and we was talking about I've engaged, so I was going to go get married. So I asked him if he could take 2 weeks off, to go get married and honeymoon and everything. He's like, "Look, if my company can run for 2 weeks without you here, you don't need to be here."
Like, oh.
So
Well.
kind of funny, looking back on that years ago. But
Yeah. It is a stressful business, and we do play hard and work hard, so they get both of them. But
it is stressful. And that's one of the things I learned. I did get stressed out, and I overdid it and got burnt out, and I left. I went back to lumber for a while. So through the pandemic, I was in the lumber industry and absolutely crazy busy. Truly amazing what happened through all that. Where you guys were looking for things to do, we were busy.
Yeah.
Very busy. Quick funny story there. Worked for a company with pressure treating lumber, and so always about November, prices of lumber pretty low, so you start building up for the big spring sell-off. So I did. I started buying lumber and preparing for spring. And we talked about this COVID thing, and and maybe shutting things down. So went over to the owner of the company. I said, "Hey man, I think I might have bankrupt your company." And he's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "I started buying for spring, and they're talking about shutting us down." So decided, let's not treat it. Let's put it in a warehouse. We'll kind of hold it. And man, everybody and their brother got home and wanted to build something.
Yeah.
So it was truly amazing.
I remember in our warehouse, in fact, I could see Chris over there. They had to put a protocol in the warehouse. So we would have, if anybody's never been to Jet Midwest, when we tear down an aircraft off site, or even sometimes on site, we build scaffolds for our flight surfaces so that we can stack them up and they can go actually inside of a box truck. So we actually design it. It's just all 2x4s, just tons and tons of linear feet of 2x4s. And then when we bring it into the warehouse, sometimes we start selling, we'll consolidate, right? And
Sure.
so we'll break them down. And well, we got to the point where we're like, we literally set up a workstation to salvage 2x4s because they were so expensive.
Oh, yeah.
And so we started intentionally taking these things down and cutting them into exact board sizes. And we had like carts when the guys would go in the warehouse, go pull that one down, and you saved $1,000 every hour, because the lumber was just insane.
It really was. Looking back into the funnies out there on the internet. Hey, baby, you want to see how rich I am? I got 2 pieces of plywood. Wow, he really is rich.
And it goes back to, if we think about our aviation backgrounds and the culture that we've developed, it's, we're a small, flexible organization. And what did we do when lumber got tight? We had it. We just found a different way to monetize it and
repurpose it.
Yeah. And we were building crates for third-party stuff. And prior to that, we didn't charge for crates. It was pretty rare for us to charge for a crate for something. And we started charging for crates like this. We can't carry this cost, especially not now. So it was an interesting time for sure. Well, listen, we're gonna wrap up here in the next couple of minutes. Is there anything that you think that the listeners out there would really love to hear, some wisdom maybe that you have to give to them?
Mike Jones and wisdom. Wow.
Yeah.
That's tough.
I know you're hiding. You've got grandkids. I know you got it in there. You've been bottling all that up. Your kids didn't listen to you, but they will. The grandkids will.
Yeah, if I would have just listened to my parents, right? But aviation. One of the things that we kind of hinted on before, just be you, be genuine, be truthful. That's one of the things I learned going into this is you got to be you. You can't be somebody else. And that's one of the new things. Again, kudos to Craig Guzman, who I worked for. He lets you be you. That's one of the most exciting things to me, is to be Mike Jones.
Yeah.
The other Mike Jones that everybody talks about is the rapper. Unfortunately, he stole my name.
No idea who that
Really?
is.
Oh, okay. So, he's a rapper, and he made all the money
There you
with
go.
my name. Super neat that he has Mike Jones.
All right. Well, I'm looking that up to see if it's any good. It's not really my genre, but we'll see what Mike Jones can do.
Trust me.
All right. So to all the Nose to Tail podcast listeners out there, in the words of Mike Jones, stay genuine to who you are, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to our podcast, Nose to Tail. Please like and subscribe to our channel. Presented by Jet Midwest.